fact that you put it with the pro wrestling, and I was like, genius. I don't know why nobody's done it before. That's it's crazy.
I'd like to believe that it was just meant for no other. I don't think anyone else could be Cappuccino Jones. I don't see why either, but either potato. But yeah, it's coffee relates to everything, and everybody loves coffee. And it's not coffee. The world runs on caffeine, whether we like it or not. Teachers, students, doctors, lawyers, just caffeine is just so prominent in this world. And I truly believe that I can be what caffeine is to this world, to the professional wrestling industry. I can give it that little boost. I can wake it up, because what I love about wrestling is, the Macho Mans. I love the Dusty Rhodes. I love just things that just were larger than life,
Right.
I believe that wrestling, of course, has to have the realism, but the larger than life aspect comes in the fact that wrestling is an escape from reality. It's an escape from whatever you're going through as a fan. Have a bad day at work. You go to this wrestling show. You're not thinking about that. So I think that Cappuccino Jones I don't think those shoes could be filled by any other man or woman.
I don't think so either. And I love that you have that thought process because, that's exactly it. People either have to find a babysitter to go to pro wrestling or they take their kids to pro wrestling because they love something as when they were a kid, or the kids love, what they see on WWE, but then, a lot of times they don't come to their area enough. So local wrestling is always there. And I always think that smaller wrestling, like indie wrestling and local wrestling, is better to me, but that's just because I enjoy the intimacy of it and like hearing the crowd and like fully being a part of it, as opposed to this massness that is, going to a Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or any big arena show. And it's kind of, I think it's just better. And it's almost like seeing one of your favorite bands in like a small venue.
Yeah, for sure. It's an experience like no other. Truly.
I love it. So I saw that you debuted just after your birthday in 2022. What was that like, debuting just right around your birthday?
Man, it felt like that was like the way my whole debut match. I can watch it back now and be like, oh my, this is terrible. but I will never forget how I felt in that match. Like after that match was done, I just knew for sure that this is where I'm supposed to be. And that like God created me to be a professional wrestler. Like I remember to this day I still remember and I still know that this is the way it happened. Even the fact that it was a couple days after my birthday was just like, it all just felt full circle. It all felt full circle. It was a crazy feeling though. I remember I was so nervous before my match, but at the same time excited, like not like scared nervous, but just butterflies, just wanting to do good nervous.
Right. I think everybody, that's in the performing art should also have that no matter what they're doing. Like every time you go out, you should have some kind of nerves going through you. It shouldn't just be like, all right, let's get this over with. Like that's not a good feeling.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So when it comes to working different areas, obviously you're going to be either a face or a heel and you kind of switch around. Is there one you enjoy working more, or is there one that you think that you could probably, work a little better at? I love being a heel is fun. That's what I've heard.
It's fun to just it's fun to just tell people to shut up and all that. It's fun to just because I'm a nice guy, like I'm a nice
Right.
guy, and I would never, I wouldn't hurt a fly unless provoked, and I'm just even like I don't even get angry really easily. Like I'm a pretty chill, mellow guy. Um, so being a heel is fun, and just being able to, not be for once, and being able to just, have that fun, and just, have a little extra swag in your walk. And, we all grew up watching, Ric Flair and Triple H and,
Mhm.
all these guys. But being a face is definitely just my zone. Like Rey Mysterio, was the very first wrestler I ever watched. And I remember
Mhm.
like the more and more I got into wrestling, like I always wanted to be, and I still live by this, my biggest goal in wrestling, like when it's all said and done, how I want people to remember me. I want to be how, I want to have a connection with the fans like Rey Mysterio did, like Rob Van Dam did, like Jeff Hardy
Mm.
did. Always use those three because no matter what, you always knew they were authentic. You always knew that the connection they had with the crowd was real. Like they weren't just being good guys for the night. They were, it was real. They really appreciated what they were doing, and they really they wrestled with joy, and they came out with joy. So I think that naturally that's just who I am.
Mm.
I would, I think I could do either or. Confidently, I think I can do either or very well, but I think it's just hard to boo a guy that just clearly loves what he does.
That's true. I mean, I think that's for the most part how Seth Rollins seems to be over as much as he is, because people love him as a wrestler, and could tell that, there's nothing else in this world he would rather be doing is this.
Exactly.
So when you're obviously you create a gimmick and you work through it, and then you have to work on the moveset as well when you're a pro wrestler. What were some moves that you kind of started with and then you kind of fell off them because you either knew that they don't work all the time, or they can't work with, all the size people, or also if you think of just longevity, like, oh, I can't be doing this forever. I mean, look what Randy Orton's recently said about the RKO. He kind of wishes that he had picked another finisher. I mean, Hulk Hogan says the same thing. So is there any moves that you kind of started with and you're like, never mind. Maybe we'll stop doing this one, or use this for special occasions?
When I decided I was going to be a pro wrestler, and I started getting into Ring of Honor heavy, I always loved Mark Briscoe's Froggy Bow.
Yeah.
And that was actually my finish for the longest time and my New Year's resolution was to get rid of moves that I wasn't, that I didn't love in my move set. And there's actually quite a lot, but number one was a Froggy Bow. I love doing it, but yeah, it just longevity wise, I don't want to jump off the top rope every single night. I love it. Like I don't want to jump off the top rope every single night, and like it's a wild move, like that Froggy Bow.
Yeah.
It's fun to do, and honestly, like if I'm being honest, like humbly, I say I don't hit it as clean as Mark Briscoe.
Right.
It was the Froggy Brew was great while it lasted, and I do plan to bring it back one day. But
Hmm.
as of right now, I decided to put it on the back burner because I need to clean it up, and I wanted to experiment more. And but when I debuted and when I was having those first couple matches, I was doing a lot of random stuff for some reason. I was doing like a ton of stunners and just I don't oh man, I'm trying to think, like what was I really doing? Yeah, there's a lot of just random. I feel like every match in like my first month or two, I had like a different moveset and like the same finish. But that's it's kind of inevitable. I was really open to just going with the flow and figuring it out. See what the crowd liked. The crowd liked my drop kick a lot, so I still do that to this day. The crowd always reacted well to my leapfrog. So I do a double leapfrog drop kick quite often. That's it's one of my famous moves. But as of recent, I decided that my moveset is going to be a moveset that makes sense for Cappuccino Jones. So
there you go.
even though I'm a fan of, knees and super kicks and flip pile drivers, Cappuccino Jones would never do a flip pile driver. Cappuccino Jones is going to stop you with a Brewsers press.
There you go.
Cappuccino Jones is going to stop you with a macchiato driver. Cappuccino Jones is going to put you in the caffeine crusher, not the calf crusher, So I'm still in the works. I think that's going to be my whole career thus far. My whole career going forward is going to be just adding to that move set of, just caffeinated moves, moves that make sense for me, and because I think that's only right.
Yeah.
I don't wrestle for myself. I wrestle for the fans, and they need to see Cappuccino Jones at his most caffeinated.
There you go. I love that. Now, I had this thought, since you are Cappuccino Jones, have you thought of maybe a manager or a side person, aka a barista?
I actually have both of those.
Do you?
Yes, I have a barista, specifically at Core Pro Wrestling, where I am the 918 champion currently.
Right.
I have Chelsea Stackhouse as my barista. She guides me to the ring on a coffee cart, and we charge $1 per cup of coffee, made backstage in our personal coffee maker. So every month at Core, she wheels me out, and we've been going strong, and I think that we're pretty close. Maybe not quite just yet, but in a couple years we'll be Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. But
I love it.
I have a manager as well. I'm a part of Dakota brand, which is a sponsorship led by Cam Dakota. He is a manager in the Oklahoma area, and he doesn't manage me at all the feds. But when we do get together, we are the coffee and the creamer. I think we're just like Jordan and Pimpin', like Kobe and Shaq.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, on your social media, you go around and you review different coffee places. What is your criteria for your ratings for these places? Are they, is it atmosphere? Is it, obviously the presentation of the drink, how the drink tastes? Like, kind of walk us through that.
Oh, yes. What a great question. So, yeah, it's all of those things. It's the atmosphere, the music that's playing, presentation, and of course the most important is the taste. You can have a pretty subpar atmosphere. You could even have a pretty subpar presentation. It's definitely not preferred. But if your coffee tastes 10 out of 10, then what can I say? But I think all those things go into for my criteria as far as the coffee ratings. I don't put the ratings on my Instagram a lot. I need to start putting my ratings. I take personal notes of my ratings. But all those things come into play. But I would say the most important is the taste and the atmosphere for sure. Because if I'm in a coffee shop that's too small or too loud, like those things like that throw me off. Things like that really throw me off. I like to feel like I really like to feel like I'm just in another world when I hit these coffee shops. And if I can't hear myself think, then it's, I don't know. But I think that every coffee shop is different. Every cup of coffee is different. So I do keep that in mind when I drink.
I love it. Do you order the same thing every time so that way your ratings are consistent, or do you kind of go off whatever their